Good evening. I think we've got a fantastic panel, and definitely we're going to get a lot of insights. Many things that you would like to know but don't know is going to come out from here. How many people here are food entrepreneurs? One, two, three, four. Okay. So this session will be very useful for food entrepreneurs primarily, and of course to many others as well. So we've got a fantastic panel, all founders, all built companies. We have the giants like Rebel, who are probably the largest restaurant company, online restaurant company in the world. So give them a big hand. An Indian company, largest online restaurant. And we've got a very small, two, three fine dining outlet. Priyanka, she's come from Bangalore for this event, just for this 30 minutes. She's come all the way from Bangalore to interact and share her insights. And we've got some great brands like Burma, many, all of them, Harajuku, Tokyo Café, then Gaurav with Red Lantern, right? Sorry, Chirag, Burma, Gaurav, Red Ginger, sorry. Red Ginger. So all of them have built companies, great brands. So now we will be talking about, why Burma, why Tokyo, why Vietnamese, why not Indian? And does India have such a big market that we can have 100 Burmas and 100 Harajuku Tokyo cafes and 100, many of these Vietnamese. And yeah, yes. No, I'm saying so many cuisines, right? So let's talk about why you are all doing well. What is different in your food, in your experience, in the culture that you are trying to promote in India? Over to you.
It's a very simple problem, right? Restaurants is about good food first. Somewhere along the line, it started being about events, it started being about ambience, it started being about everything else but food. So at Burma, our hero is the food. We don't do events, we don't do discounts, we don't do anything fancy. Just we keep it very simple. And how we manage to do that, we give fantastic service at premium locations, and that has worked very well for us.
And you are a pure veg brand.
We don't market ourselves as a pure veg brand. We are a Burmese restaurant that happens to be vegetarian.
Okay. So a person who had heard about the brand would come in and then only discover that you don't serve any meat or fish.
That's correct.
Very good. That's a great strategy. So at least once somebody comes in, he's going to pay a bill. Okay. So now, what about you, Gaurav? You have built a very sweet brand, Harajuku Tokyo Cafe. So what do you think is driving Indian consumers to get to Japanese food?
I think like Chirag rightly pointed out, food speaks for itself, and food is the first and foremost part of all of us over here. But what we've done differently to drive demand for a cuisine that wasn't a very mass cuisine, that didn't suit every Indian palate earlier, was to become a brand that bridged the gap between Japanese cuisine that could have been intimidating and made it more playful, made it more fun through our branding, to our atmosphere, through the interiors that we created. So we just made a more welcoming environment, and that's when we actually got people to get the hang of Japanese food and get used to our food.
But Japanese have a lot of raw fish. Do you think India it works?
Again, I think when we started off, we did things completely differently. Japanese food is known for pork. Japanese food is known for all its raw meats. Indians are a little susceptible, at least they used to be 6, 7 years down the line, to raw fish. So we introduced Japanese food via all the other Japanese dishes that would have suited the Indian palate in a better way, be it an udon, be it a katsu curry, be it all of those dishes. Eventually, once the cuisine started to get the acceptability, the adaptability, is when we introduced more of authentic Japanese food items as well.
Okay. Yes, Priyanka, what's been your experience with South Asian food?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so South Asian food, first of all, the palate is known in India. So that was the first thing. And like Chirag and Gaurav both said, my focus was also food. Vietnamese cuisine, because it was also a growing cuisine and healthy. Health aspects have become very, very popular with the general population per se. And so it started off with that. And Cambodia is a country that I visited many years back. And I thought we have a lot of similarity, a lot of history which is common but yet not known in Khmer cuisine. So that's how I started the concept. So focused on food, and that's what it is. And then we built a menu around, like I built a menu around it. It has obviously been like a task because I don't come from an F&B background. So the whole research, getting into the ingredients, getting into the recipes. But it has been a very good journey. And if you work on the food aspect, the guests do come back, given the fact that if you consistently give quality, and at Campot, that's what the journey started off with. And then I got into Japanese cuisine because it's also what I would say, it was more inspired by my daughter, who comes from that generation who wanted to have Japanese food. And she said, Mama, why don't you studied so much about the other cuisines, why not Japanese? And yeah, there is a lot of acceptance
Okay.
of all the palates, yeah.
Okay. So, Ankush, we have on one side, people talking about fine dining restaurants, creating a cultural experience with the food from other countries. And here you are, with the largest internet restaurants, selling all types of food. So how does this change from your perspective as a cloud brand or mainly cloud brand?
Yeah, I think I think we started in 2012, so it's been now almost 13, 14 years we've been doing this. So obviously, I think when we started, I think we were only one brand, and the commons on the food don't change, which is basically QCVH, which is quality, convenience, value for money, and hygiene. Now, we thought there's a lot of opportunity because real estate in India is such a big challenge. So that's what we kept challenging and say, okay, for a fine dine, the way of thinking is very, very different. The way we do things is very, very different. I think the idea was to more in terms of when the kind of cuisine we started with, it was more on, we realized 70% is delivery orders. So I think focusing again, I think the common thing is again, the quality, value for money, hygiene and convenience, which is now when you're dining out or you're dining or you're ordering in, and ordering is obviously growing very, very fast. In fact, if you look at the data now, while all the different cuisines are picking up well, but all the big brands are now struggling on the SKSG. So if all the big offline QSR chains are not growing well. On the other side, we are doing well, and now specialty restaurants like Burma or Japanese cuisine and all. Because another thing which has happened in India is now Indians are well traveled. So earlier there was, if you look at North Indian biryani still sells the highest online, but now other cuisines are picking up a lot. So people have traveled a lot outside India. They know a lot of flavors. So for us, the focus has always been how do we have that operating leverage, and is our operating model, where we work on different cuisine and customer preferences, but focusing on again those four things which I mentioned about quality, value for money, and large focus is on delivery today. But we have built a lot of brands which now, like we have Wendy's, which is offline. We have few each are offlines. We might do a couple of other brands also offline. So we are in the omni-channel. But I think core of the food is these four things, which will, even if you're a dine-in or if you're a delivery, I think food is something we all need to understand which goes inside your body. So I think the quality matters a lot. So that's what our focus was always on. And then we built systems to do more throughput, more volume, more brands, and that's the path we took.
So in the last few years, we have seen a very significant shift of buying online rather than going and consuming. So I would definitely say there is always a pull and push between these two things happening. But we are again creating a category where you have a dining experience which you can never get online, right? So these dining experiences, people are willing to pay more, and they don't mind going there once, but the frequency is much less compared to what you would do on a online basis, right? So I do think that everything is going to coexist, but only thing is we don't know who is going to make the more money.
Yeah, I think money that everyone will make. I think India is now consumer, so the percentages are different. So I have to do much more volume to make the same money offline make. But again, I think there is a lot of innovation which is happening. So just to give you an example, we just launched Sizzlers in delivery in Dubai. So
Sizzlers?
delivering Sizzlers at home now.
Wow.
Because again, if you have to go somewhere, you have to travel, then you order, then you eat. It's a 3 hours commitment. And now with people valuing their time, obviously there are occasions where people will go out, celebrate. There's a way food is served. So there's a lot of innovation which will keep challenging both the sides, and we'll all keep innovating.
Okay. Gaurav, what is your take? Because I think you do a lot of airports also, right? So that's again a very different market compared to what's there online, offline, right? So what's your take on, you know,
Yes, Hari. So we basically started off as a QSR company in 2007, and then in 2015 we ventured into the travel hospitality, which is the airport space. So completely different, and I mean we are talking about. I think we all remember the earlier airports we used to have. You walk in and you see a red cloth on a table and you're selling samosas and chai. That's the time that we have seen, and now the best of the airports we have are in India. And yes, I think from the perspective of the consumer psychology, they are completely different. Like when we all travel, take up a flight, we have 10 things going on in the mind. You know, I have to meet somebody, I have to catch up with a friend, with a batchmate, and etc. Whereas if you go and, as you were just mentioning, when we go and dine out, that is more for the experience. We plan it, we get people together and go there. So our first challenge was to, how to reach out to the passengers out there. And so we were the ones who actually bought the food to gate model in 2015 at Lucknow Airport. And now, of course, it's more of a norm at all the airports. And I think what drives it more now is the crazy rentals that we pay at the airports. Without doing that, there's no question that you can survive. And also, as all the panelists, Priyanka and all of you have been mentioning that the food has taken center stage even at the airports, which was not the case earlier. You just go and you say, "Mujhe coffee chahiye." But now we all know, as we are all traveled, we know we all, to the extent we know what beans are going into that, it's like 100% Arabica and stuff like that. So I think we have evolved, and probably in food, I can say that we are one of the most developed economies of the world. And I mean, unarguably, if you go to America, you don't see the same level of finesse in the food being served, or even the coffee being served. So I think, yes, there's a long way, and the times are exciting. Consumers are there. They are willing to spend. They are willing to pay the price as long as we are willing to give the quality.
so airports is a distinct segment, right?
Yeah.
So is your focus more on selling more into airports or outside? Because I think,
So
that's
we are almost equally split in terms of revenues between airports and the outside of airports business. So we are there in various cities, but yes, the driving is coming from both the segments. And now I think the time is, when we started up, it was just about expanding, expanding, and expanding. But now it is about uh, doing the right stuff, even if the locations are less. As we were all discussing that the food which is being served has to be right. I may be having 100 outlets, nobody cares. If I am a single restaurant owner, in fact, that does well in many cases.
yeah.
So I think that's how the market is changing. Yeah.
Okay, Jivitesh, you are doing some work, innovative work in terms of what's happening between the POS and the customer,
Yeah, yes.
which brand owners never realize what's happening between the last mile, right?
Right.
So just give us 3 important insights which you see, which brand owners typically miss in the interaction between the POS owner and the POS or the server and the customer.
Got it. Firstly, thanks, Hari sir, for having me here. And so, talking about the insights at the last mile, what I have seen and what we have seen as a team, some really interesting stuff that we were able to bring up for our customers was, one of the biggest problems was lack of change. So the most frustrated customers were at the counter would be when the person behind the counter is unable to give them a change for the money that they are paying. So this comes up in payment issues. So it's one of the biggest categories of payment friction that happens, which causes 2 minutes of extra time, 2 to 3 minutes of extra time for every customer who's queued up. And especially in, like we were talking about airport stores, the waiting time complaints are higher on, on the airport outlets. So these sort of little things, because what I feel is that every restaurant or every food business is about delivering an experience consistently again and again, right? And what we don't realize is that what we are not measuring is what we are not measuring or what we are not able to measure is actually something that might be causing hindrance in the experience that is there. So these are like two major things that we saw. Apart from this, there are a lot of other veg non-veg mix-ups where customers go really crazy and start shouting and
No,
screaming.
are you able to see what are the new things in demand? For example, a customer comes and asks, "Oh, can you give me matcha tea?" or
Yeah.
"Can you give me this, that?" Do you
Of
get
course.
these type of insights?
So different chains and especially multi-unit chains are using us for different use cases. One of them is new demand intel. So they are trying to understand, what customers are asking for is not a part of our menu. And a lot of times they're able to bring that. So one of the customers, in fact, launched a new product just on the basis of this. And they had 100 stores, so they understood which of the stores have the most demand for it and did the pilot in those particular stores. So one of the things is understanding new demand intel, and then, of course, a lot of predictive analysis on the basis of the data that is coming in.
Thank you. Ishwar, you've been a kitchen robotics company, right? And you've been focused mostly on the food space, right? So technology is very important for people to maintain quality as well as scale and things like that. So what do you see as, how technology is being used or deployed by all the brands at various levels, smaller brands, larger brands? How do you think the technology is helping them, build the brand in a much stronger way, provide consistent experience to customers?
So I think you said a very important statement that, I think two important statements that came out today was food is the core of why any restaurant or F&B brand should exist. And doing things repeatedly again and again is what builds a brand. Right? I think that's where technology comes. As a brand owner, you have some of the best chefs who design some of the best recipes for you. But unless and until at scale, when I say at scale, need not be 1,000 outlet like what Ankush runs, but even a single outlet, day in and day out, if you want to give the same food consistently, is a big challenge. Not because you don't want to do it, it becomes a challenge, but because it's very difficult. Kitchen is a very difficult environment to run. It's very hot, it's very demanding, and you want orders to be cooked in 5 to 10 minutes, the KPT is less and you need to give out. I think that's where technology can really help and really create wonders. I'll give you a small example. There's this customer of mine who bought one of our most expensive product called Walkie. He ordered 30 units, and this was not in a tier 1 city. This was about 200 kilometers from Calcutta. We were like stunned. मुझे लगा कि by mistake he might have ordered. This is like the Ray Kroc film where there's this where he got a large order, and I took a flight to Calcutta. I went to this restaurant to see ho kya raha hai. And he said the moment he automated his restaurant, his footfall kept on increasing. He actually started with 2 machines, but because the consistency was good, it added more customers. And then he had to make more food more consistently, and hence he went to a larger number. So the bottom line is technology doesn't drive business fundamentals, but if you have great business fundamentals and not able to replicate that day in and day out, is when it will be difficult for you to maintain that bottom line. So technology, just because it sounds sexy कि ये use कर रहा हूँ, automation use कर रहा हूँ, or I want to raise a VC round to show my investors, might not really work. But if you want to build the same food again and again, like Samosa Party, right? They are the largest samosa brand in India because they can fry the samosa consistently every damn time, and hence they are at 100 outlets. Selling normally a 10 rupees samosa at maybe 50 rupees. And that's how you're able to command a premium. I think that's where I think technology really comes, and I think that's where we have been able to build a business around.
Sanket, you are on the side of the plate, right? And you are mostly doing it for B2B. How are you scaling in terms of using technology for desserts? And you are doing mostly Indian desserts, right? So just tell us something about what's happening in the dessert space, especially the Indian desserts that you do for B2B.
So, Hari sir, I learned about the technology that I'm using now at Scandalous Foods back in 2016 when I was running Urban Spice. So, I used to run a fresh kitchen, and my cook used to trouble me more than my girlfriend then. And I wanted to get him out of my kitchen. So, I went to Mysore, I spent some time, and I learned technologies that gave food a shelf life. And I came back with a eureka moment, I mean, which is been used since decades, that blast frozen food is probably, I mean, blast frozen technology is probably the best technology to use if you're doing ready to eat or ready to assemble food. And that then helped me scale Urban Spice and become a large food OOH company before selling it. And I took that same learning into when I started Scandalous Foods in 2022, late 2022. And I realized that most people here, they want to concentrate on, on products that give them 90% of their revenue, which is the center of the plate. And if we could give them a zero capex, zero opex, zero wastage, zero pilferage solution uh, for the side of the plate categories like tikkas, kebabs, sweets, desserts, beverages, they would happily purchase that and concentrate on making a biryani or a noodle or a pizza or whatever. And it was with that idea that in so we had to choose one of the side of the plates, and we realized that खाने के बाद कुछ रसमलाई मिल जाती तो मज़ा आ जाता, या खाने के बाद कुल्फ़ी मिल जाती तो मज़ा आ जाता, was a massive opportunity. And we saw that ice creams was already a solved problem, and mithais exactly wasn't. And hence we decided to, kind of sell rasmalais with 6 month shelf life in single serve 95-gram cups to the restaurant industry. I mean, when I say rasmalai, I mean, we do 3 more sweets, but that was how the idea came.
So I wanted to ask all the other panelists, we are seeing that the Gen Z doesn't consume Indian sweets. They are more and more getting into Western sweets. Is that a true observation? Do you feel like that in your brands?
So at Burma, right from a 4-year-old to an 80-year-old, that's our target audience. So there is nothing, and we don't do Indian sweets. So it's more. So we are the only Burmese restaurant in the country. There are a couple of more, but they serve other cuisines as well. So the whole idea is what is Gen Z looking at? The reason they have moved away from Indian sweets, to the best of my understanding, is lack of innovation. When you look at a Bombay sweet shop, they are innovating in the Indian sweet space. So that that is popular among Gen Z and all target audiences. So what we get at Burma, if you look at our desserts, we have a selection of 12 desserts, and every dessert has at least 12 elements. Something like this you would only expect at a 5-star hotel. We got that concept at a casual dining restaurant at under 500 rupees. So, you might end up going to a 5-star. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the only place you have a fantastic meal or a special meal were 5 stars. And most of them were multi-cuisines. Now the trend has totally shifted towards single cuisine concepts, and people don't want to dress up. So that's why, at a casual dining restaurant, a specialty cuisine, serving fantastic desserts, and we have extensive beverage program. So it is quite opposite, how I see other people on the panel trying to optimize for time. I feel that as humans, we are all social animals, right? So we need to socialize, we need to step out. There's room for everybody, but at the end of the day, if it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a weekday, if you want to catch up with somebody, why are coffee shops so popular? Like, that's a third space. But at the same time, people also want to eat, especially Indians. For us, if 4 people get together, the first thing is that what are we going to eat? Whether it's 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. So we are leveraging on that, and I feel casual dining is a fantastic category. India has not even scratched the surface. You look at brands in the US, you look at brands in China, in Hong Kong. There are 100, 200, 500 outlets of casual dining spaces, and all of them are doing well. It's because of access. Like you said, that if I want to open 100 Burmas at the moment, I cannot, because there aren't enough organized spaces that exist in a country. But as we move on, if there is innovation, I don't see whether it's Gen Z, it's people in their 30s, 50s, or 80s. It does not matter. If there is innovation, if there is focus on delivering the right experience, I don't foresee any issue in demand.
Okay. What about you, Gaurav? I think some of your bakehouse products are very viral. What is your customer profile who have these products? And do you see that this customer profile or this segment is more demanding and wants new and new products to taste?
Absolutely. I think most of our entire customer segment is Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. At least consciously we target those customer segments, and they are looking at not just Indian sweets or Indian trends, but they're looking at trends globally. They're well-traveled, well-averse, they're well-read. They're always on social media. They want anything and everything that they see happening in a Japan or a Korea to be available in India the next day. So I do see global trends driving demand in India amongst this particular age group and target audience. And again, I think like Chirag also rightly said, if there's innovation being driven in any segment, be it Indian, be it Korean, be it Japanese, Gen Z and Gen Alphas are looking at innovation and trends more than anything else. They don't want the same old concept that has been running for the last 20 years, but they want something new within even an existing category. And they definitely are looking at newer and newer categories that haven't existed in India before.
Yes, Priyanka, what's your take on this?
I'll answer this a little differently. So, because I have a Gen Alpha kid at home and I also interact with Gen Zs a lot, if you see, they celebrate Halloweens more than Diwali, right? I mean, last year, 31st October was Halloween's and 31st October was also Diwali. And there was a huge battle at home, which one should we be celebrating? We have made strict guard rules that if you want to celebrate Halloweens, you have to first celebrate Diwali. Why I'm saying this is being the same simile to the Indian deserts versus the westernized deserts, because we as a generation have become highly anglicized. We like to do or feel things which are more viral, which are on Instagram, which are Instagram worthy. When you build a dine-in, you talk to the architect in a way, is this Instagram worthy? When you plate a food, is this Instagram worthy? No matter how much we want to focus on our core food, but we cannot shy away from these realities. And we do, even like as a chef-led restaurant. So coming back to this point of Indian desert, I don't think they are going to be so they would be relevant, but they have to be plated. So I have seen this Diwali. I also do very boutique catering, only for close friends and corporates, where I've seen this Diwali, it is trending that you do a rasmalai tiramisu, for that matter. So everything is about fusion. It doesn't become ancient, it's just that it has to be brought in a new way. While at a restaurant at Campot or Kizakaya, we don't do, because we are Pan-Asian, we focus on our in-house Pan-Asian desserts. But if for a catering, we do have fusion, which is a mix of, say, a gulab jamun, or say a gulab jamun has come out as a mousse, plated as a mousse with some whipped cream and so on and so forth. And that's when you work with a B2B supplier to bring this to the table. And so there are opportunities in that space.
Fusion is a way, and of course, creating more and more innovative products.
Innovation, newness, and it attracts the Gen Zs. So the same kid will not have a gulab jamun given in a bowl, but they may have a gulab jamun which is served in a shot glass, which has some colored jelly at the bottom and some stick on top. It's just a way of presenting. I'm sorry, I mean, we don't do that, but what I'm saying is there is future in it, and that will become the trend if the relevant brands focus on it.
Ankush, what about the cloud? What's happening in the desert space as far as the cloud is concerned?
I think so we should not be scared of Gen Zs. So I think India is at a very unique stage, and that's what we've been seeing. We are growing wide and we are growing deep. So while if you only focus on tier 1, you might feel these trends, but if you go to tier 2, tier 3, and our last whole expansion has been, so India is India 1, India 2, India 3, and I think, well, India 1, what we are discussing is largely India 1 problem. But if you go to India 2, India 3, I think the consumption is increasing and our variety acceptance is also increasing. So if just to give you a surprise, my largest grossing outlet is not in any tier 1. It's in a city called Banaras. My second largest is Jammu.
Jammu?
So, yeah.
Wow.
So the consumption is increasing, the depth is increasing, the width is increasing. I think we have to cater to everything. And that's where I come back on as a food players. I think there was no Indian sweet, so we work with these guys, and I think we're doing great business. So we need both now. And at the same time, we also have a brand called Sweet Truth, where we do gulab jamun cheesecake. We just did a Mishti Doi cheesecake, which is a hit. We are doing so. I think India now needs both width and depth. The old things also are like the Indian sweets. In fact, that's where the entire Diwali sale trend shows what eventually sells in the volumes. While what we see in tier one is very small chunk of the whole thing. I think India is so our biggest strength is our population, and I think our population is consuming more variety, and a lot more populations now ordering out, exploring. We recently saw that Coimbatore desert brand getting a big round of funding. So
Yes.
we work with Anand Sweets, who's doing amazing. We all know what Haldiram is up to. So I think India is growing both wide and deep, and I think there's opportunity for everyone. A lot of innovation and a lot of scope for all of us in the room. Yeah.
So Gaurav, what is your take, especially from the airport side in terms
So,
of desserts?
yeah, so I think for Gen Zs, on a lighter note, they are also humans. And even the Gen Zs don't know what they really want in life. But I think as a chemistry student, we all have studied the concept of equilibrium. So I think anything like, be it the stock markets or be it anything in chemistry, things go up and then they settle down. So I have a Gen Z at home, and believe me, he'll be consuming your products like crazy. So they may not say it, but they will consume what they like. So and I sometimes feel that they are very clear about what they want in life. It's just that they are probably having that image management ki hum Gen Z hain, so you will never be able to understand us. But there will be a day when we will understand them, and they will really be outshining the world. And so I believe that there is, as Ankush said, there is scope for everyone. Now, at the airports, I think everybody is a traveler, and I also run a specialty cafe in Goa. So again, uh, the consumer age starts from probably toddlers to seniors catching up. So I see that food, if it is served in the right way, if it tastes good, if the ingredients go. One good thing which has happened, I think, over the past few years in particular, is the consumers have become very discerning about the what goes inside making that product. Clean food, absolutely. So I am surprised to see the number of people walking. So we run an artisanal bakery and cafe called Cafe Adera in Goa. People walk in, and I think the most frequently asked question is, uh, what stuff is gluten-free? What is the stuff which is vegetarian, which is eggless? I don't remember when we were growing up, we asked those kind of questions going to a bakery. We used to just pick up the cake and have it without even knowing ki isme kya hai. So I think that's a good thing which has happened in favor of people who have a clear conscience of serving the best. So we at Red Ginger Hospitality, we make sure that we serve what I consume at home. And believe me, people are willing to pay the price. There is absolutely no problem of the food cost, as I keep hearing, at least in the artisanal and the, in those specialty.
Okay, I'll just change tracks now. I wanted to ask, what is it happening in terms of your human resource? Do you see that as a challenge, especially when you're doing cultural food and, you're expanding so fast? What is the challenge with the human resource piece in this industry? Because I think we require a very large number of people to actually take care of all your expansion plans. How are you handling it? Yes.
Biggest challenge is human resource. As of last month, our total team strength is 1,500 people.
1,500?
That's correct.
How many restaurants?
19.
Wow.
So, and we've got 3 on the way, so some of the team members are already onboarded. So the problem is about 50 to 75 people leave every month. Then we have to hire for the new restaurants. And it is about training. Like, our focus, we are very big on service. For example, to get the right team members, train them, and then for them leaving. So it's an ongoing process. So we work very hard on L&D, on building a culture, giving them a clear roadmap in their careers. So it is a constant challenge, and I don't foresee this challenge going away anytime soon. but there are ways to overcome it. But you are absolutely right. Industry. I feel the biggest challenge is not consumption. It's not demand. It's not what Gen Z, Gen Alpha want. At the end of the day, everybody wants good food and good service. It is managing scale, especially in a country like India, is managing scale. There is Rebel Food. Why is it the largest company in the world? Because that is easier to scale. But in the casual dining category, you don't get real estate. If you get real estate, you don't get demand. If you have that, you don't get money. So it is extremely difficult for a brand. It took us 9 years to raise a first round. Now we've raised 4 rounds in the last 3 years. So it is not easy to succeed. But at the same time, to manage human resources pan-India, that is the biggest challenge in my opinion. You'll get the real estate, you'll drive up the demand. It's not that difficult. You'll manage the money, but the attrition, it is the biggest challenge in my opinion.
Ankush.
Yeah. I think. So on the same side, if I talk about, we had almost 10,000 people.
10,000.
Yeah, on the blue collared. So I think first thing we realized, I think earlier, is for blue collar, salary is not what matters. So I think we divided the problem into 2 parts. One is obviously the culture, how they feel about it, how they grow. So I think culture and basically how they feel their growth here. So again, giving an example, a person now running a market in Dubai joined as a delivery boy in Pune 5 years back. Now he's managing almost a 10 crore monthly business in Dubai. Wow. So that's kind of growth people have got. And now it is very difficult for us to, even on our annual days, reward people with 5 years plus tenure because we have so many of them. I think so. What we did is divide the problem into 2. One is obviously culture. So anyone who spent more than a year in Rebel gets the ESOP. So everyone is in a way rewarded in terms of equity. Now the second part is on the obviously performance side. So we spend heavily on the technology. So I don't expect my 400 store managers, or what we call them CDO, to use their brain. What we'd want them to just focus on very simple, we call it a Rebel promise on the customer front, and rest everything technology, which is our operating system, take cares. Obviously we work with Ishwar and his company. I think I work with him from closely almost around last 7 years. A lot of innovation we've done together. So a lot in our operating system is tell people what to do and not they have to use their brain. So operations, the technology has taken care, but on the culture side, how do we groom, how do we give them growth, and again, how do we incentivize them, which is not their monthly salary. So our insurance, if anything goes wrong, how we take care of people, their growth, everything take care of their sticking with Rebel. And now, like all the cities I have opened, I have not have to hire in that city. A lot of people are traveling from my existing cities to the new cities. So the girl who's leading my Ambala kitchen was in Chandigarh. She said, okay, Ambala is where I am comfortable, and she's like next 3rd, 4th month, she's turning the kitchen profitable. So I think growing people inside, building that whole cult of culture is very, very important. But on the other side, when you grow, I think building system processes, and that's where we heavily invested in the first 5-7 years on our building Rebel operating system, which is now helping us manage 1,000 SKUs, 20 brands in one kitchen with the new staff from day one, giving great experience. Yeah.
Great. What about you, Gaurav?
I think for the first and foremost challenge that I faced when I went from one outlet to even the second outlet was attrition. Attrition is adamant, poaching is adamant. As soon as you start poaching is also very adamant in this industry. So standardization, SOPs, training, all of that did form a big part of my journey to come from those outlets to the number that I am at right now. Building a central kitchen and easing out all of those processes wherein not everyone feels responsible for a screw up happening at an outlet level was one of the very big important roles that helped us in this. But yet, having said that, I don't think we've really majorly solved for attrition in any other way. And it does take years to build in that culture, to build in those SOPs, to build in that system in place. It does take years for you to scale and to actually show blue collar guys the path to growth. So I think those are the only ways that you can actually solve for this, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Ishwar, you've seen...
Thankfully, I don't need to deal thousands of employees, under 100. But recently, we had someone join our brand team And on his second day of work is, of course, a Gen Z. He messaged me saying that I want a day off because my pet seems to feel lonely today. I'll take the day off. I was like, huh? Allow pets in office. I know, matlab. Uh, and I was like, how should I? If I did the same when I was in maybe 10 years back when I started, I was like, even fever I was let go. But I think the thing is, if we can sort of relate to those people, right? Ki, ha, yeah, this is a real concern for him, not in my mind, but in their mind. And yes, we have a great brand manager now in the company, but I think thoda mind shift mein thoda hilta hai.
What about you, Gaurav?
So I think, as Ankush mentioned, culture is the first thing. And so we have, I think most of the people we had on day one for the 18 years ago are with us. And of course, they've grown.
18 years?
Yes.
Wow.
So they've grown tremendously, and obviously because they have contributed a lot to the company. So that's one. And I think secondly, we follow a simple rule of, you treat humans as humans and you respect their basic value systems. And I think everything else falls in place. Attrition is a part of life. While doing our MBAs, most of us, I think at least for me, I did my MBA in finance. And then I think the most underrated subject for me was human resources, which eventually when you turn an entrepreneur, you understand that this is the most valuable lesson that you can learn. And I think what I could derive out of it is, yes, I think if you give the basic respect and you actually are there to listen at times, attrition happens, but we are blessed that I think the attrition is much below the industry standards because we are not, so diversified in terms of the cities.
Priyanka?
Well, my size is very, very small compared to all the stalwarts here. But yes, labor is not an issue, but skill is. And therefore, we have developed a training SOP. We try to catch them from one bank and put them in our training cell. But, so that has been able to help at the kitchen end. Service, there is definitely a very high level of attrition, and we try to just keep back up. That's about it. I mean, I have not got any other magic formula yet.
So the attrition is due to what? Is it due to money or is it due to several other factors?
It could be as simple as my pet was not well and you didn't give me off.
Yeah.
There is more demand than supply.
Yeah, there is more demand. So I'm talking of Bangalore only. Bangalore, definitely there is more. Every second week there is something opening and there is enough distraction.
So that's an opportunity which many of you should take. Train people for all these growth companies so that you can supply people to them who are trained and who can just go. Otherwise, do you have an in-house training program in the sense, once you onboard somebody, do you train them for some time before they actually are put into the field?
Absolutely. To operate at any scale, anything beyond one restaurant, you need to have SOPs in place. You need to have an L&D team. You need anybody joining Hunger Pangs. We operate one brand at the moment. They have to first understand what we do, understand the food, understand the culture, understand a little bit about the country. Because when people are coming into the restaurant for the service staff, still 60-70% is suggestive selling. They ask for recommendations. If the server does not have a command of the cuisine, they would be unable to give the guest the best experience. So
in your case, the onboarding process would take much more time than a standard QSR, primarily because they've been taught the culture, the background of the food.
100%. QSR service, the quotient is pretty low. For us, service is right up there.
Okay.
So one of the things I can add, sir, here is that whenever we see anything breaking on the dashboards for our customers, 1 out of every 4 times, the reason that they tell us is the staff is new.
Staff is new.
SOP not being followed or upselling going down or things like that. So I think that's a big impact on the outcome as well.
On the customer experience itself.
Yeah.
Do you have a standardized training program for any new recruit who comes?
Yeah. No, but I think what he said is obviously supply demand is challenge, and I think what for us, for a fine dine or a casual dining, I think staff is one of the touch point for the customer. For my case, it's mostly the food is the touch point and the packaging is the touch point. Like even when I dine in, I have so many questions to ask in cuisine, and sometimes if he's told me something else and something else is served, the displeasure of customer also these guys face at that right moment, right? The feedback is live. So I think for the employees, I think obviously the reward is live, the criticism is live. They also go through all that. And I think that's a very tough to have that kind of staff trained. But yeah, that's the challenge. But yeah, he's right. The demand supply is a big gap, and now people also the whole way, as you said, Gen Z, the new crowd, they want to be treated very differently. So how you are treated, how the customer is treating you is also very, very important. Sometimes I've seen a lot of people. So the data I get from Smoor is they leave because they just feel that customer was not. That they don't want to do this role, which is like really, really facing the heat of the customer sometime. But also on the reward side, yeah.
So the system says time is up. I have a few more questions to ask all of you. Most of you are funded here, except Priyanka probably. I think all of you are funded. You are funded. Okay. So what's been the funding scenario? Are you finding that there is more interest from investors, or are you finding it difficult to raise your next round, or your valuation is a challenge, or M&A opportunities are you looking at? All these questions I'm asking primarily because every funded company also has to give an exit to their investors. So what are your thinking process in that? I know Rebel is going to do IPO, if not today, maybe in a couple of years down the line. But what about Burma?
We are not far behind Rebel. And secondly, we raised our first round, not in terms of revenue, in terms of IPO readiness. So we raised the first round 3 years ago. It took me 8 months to raise my first round. When I got a term sheet, I thought I'm absolutely ready. Our due diligence took 3.5 months. And after that, I've just closed my 4th round. It gets easier and better. And now raising gets, you get in, it makes you more disciplined, right? In terms of
Absolutely.
sharing MIS. And as long as there is demand, money is never a constraint. Your first round is the most difficult one. After that, if there is demand, if you show performance, I feel
Money is not a constraint.
money, raising money gets simpler. It is mainly, investors bet on the jockey, and of course.
Not the horse.
Horse as well, but that after the first round, that becomes fairly relevant, right? If you have a good product, whether you want to make 20 stores, 100 stores, or 500 stores, that depends on the jockey. So I feel the investors are also getting smart. They burn their hands, and FMB, I still, the recent round we closed, that a lot of people love the brand, but some of them, the check size is too high. People say that this industry, nobody's made money. So that is why, our the 2-3 companies that are listed have not done us any good. They make our life difficult, but hopefully that should change. Maybe 5 years down the line, things will get much better. So I feel funding is a fantastic product, right? If you raise money, if you go to a bank, they said, okay, you give an asset of 10 crores, they'll give you 6-7 crores. But the magic of fundraising is in the last 1 year, in the 11 years before that, we had opened 12 restaurants, and in the last 1 year, we opened 10 restaurants. So that is only possible with private equity money.
Great. Yes, Ankush, I know you are all set to give exits to everybody, right?
I think all of us, again, the idea is for a founder, it is always to drive your purpose and what your vision is and execute it well. I think if, like he took us, so initial, there were days when we didn't have money to pay salaries, but we again pulled off. So I think that is a tough part, which looks very fancy from outside. But I think core of it is always if as a founder, you keep driving your purpose, what you wanted, and you execute well, money will follow. Might take time, might not take time. And I think eventually you owe it to your employees, you owe it to your shareholders and all that.
Do you think the F&B sector has got a lot of investors chasing good, business model, good brands, or do you think that there are only a few people who will back?
I think, so again, on the listed space, things have gone very, very, very down recently. So obviously there is a lot of surprise what we see Barbecue Nation and even the other listed QSRs, what they're facing. Specialty restaurant, even if you look at KFC and others who are being listed and the share price has not grown. So obviously there is pressure. But again, these are times which just go up and down. There were times when someone suddenly, I think, again, some good brands which get listed and show the power and the operating leverage, things will fall into place. So I think, again, for him, the purpose, he keep driving, he got the result. We are keeping driving our purpose of what we are doing. So I think money will follow. But yeah, I think India, again, I go back, the consumption is increasing, India is changing. So next 10 years, and people are valuing their time. Again, I'll say what I see in tier 2, tier 3, I think consumption is going to go up and money will follow. Yeah.
Gaurav, I know you're very early, not even 1 year old in terms of fundraising, so you don't think about exits now. But what do you see in terms of?
No, absolutely. I think the first round is the hardest. It's been an absolute roller coaster for me to raise my first round. The jargon has gone really mad, made me go crazy with all the VCs and investors around. But once you do raise the first round, it does bring in a lot of discipline in the organization. It does get you to start thinking on a different level. The 1 to 10 journey would have been maybe slightly easier, but the 10 to 100 is a completely different journey. So one after the other, I think, like you said, keep chasing and you'll get there eventually.
Yes, Ishwar, you raised your round almost 10 years ago, first round, right?
Yeah, I would say fundraising is not the most enjoyable moment for any founder. But yeah, I think it's good you said it becomes easier after every round. For me, it's not, but I would say it's not difficult to find investors, but it's always a promise on your back of your mind that you need to return that capital. It's end of the day a very important thing. But I would say for anybody starting out in F&B industry, we have one of the largest angels sitting, Mr. Hari here. So at least the entry should not be a challenge for people to start and to their first innovation.
What about you?
So for us also, like being a tech company, B2B, I think bringing in investors was a really good idea for us in the first round that we did. Post that, I met a lot of investors. Most of them connected me to my potential customers and they converted. So I think for us, it's been more about definitely money, but apart from that, even the connection and the network.
The right type of money.
Yeah, the right type.
What about
I think
you?
raising money is not difficult, but and like all investors value consistency, so I'll keep it short. But if we are and we are all in public domain, so most of the investors out there, when they experience your services and products, I think raising money is not at all a problem.
Priyanka, I know you have not raised money. Are you planning to raise money?
Yes, why not? If
Okay.
I'm sitting here.
Okay, okay. Sanket, you've also raised a couple of rounds.
So I think the good part now is that investors have now started looking at B2B businesses as well. Like they've started funding the boring businesses, which is manufacturing. So which until like 5-6 years ago, I used to not. It wasn't very common. So I think that's a good thing. Well, I mean, but I think what I see is getting the term sheet is not difficult. The journey from term sheet to MIV is quite a
The
challenge.
rights issue.
It's quite a challenge, and yeah. Otherwise, and I think for all of us as entrepreneurs, we should celebrate getting a client more than getting an investor on board. And if we celebrate the clients more, investors to will come. And like I second Ishwar, Hari sir to hai hi to invest in the food business. So I mean, Hari sir has been, the kindest soul for all F&B entrepreneurs. So all you F&B entrepreneurs raising the first round, you know who to contact after this panel gets over.
Okay, I think we have run out of time and everybody is, the bar is waiting. So anybody wants to make any closing points? One or two? Yes, please.
One last point. So you mentioned about exit. So investors that get an exit don't want to ever exit. An investor that can't get exit always chase the founders for exit.
That's a good one.
So I will just want to end with saying that, Chef Sanjeev Kapoor had told me this, that India consumes familiarity and talks newness. So, and like Ankush rightly said, there's India, like he said, India 1, 2, 3. I say there's a Singapore economy, Mexico economy, China economy. So do not chase just the Singapore economy. Don't worry. I mean, for all the regular Indian cuisines and Indian desserts, there is that whole China economy and Mexico economy that is there, which is 20 crore plus people versus just the 2 crore Singapore economy people. So it's a huge market for all kind of cuisines. We eat 60 meals a month. Both khana khayenge log. Don't worry about that.
Hence
So
why
thank
gulab
you.
jamun from him.
Yeah. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Gaurav.
much. Sorry we took 10 more minutes, but this was a panel, which I couldn't resist, taking more questions. So if you have any questions, our panelists will be walking out. Please ask them. Thank you. Thank you, please.